Welcome. I'm Lacey, Marketing Technology Director with West. I'm here with Kelly Snowden, your strategic partner with WFG National Title. And today we are going to cover how to create your first podcast. So this is really exciting and near and dear to my heart because I've had a 60 episode podcast that I had a first season of and getting ready to actually launch another podcast. So I'm happy to share everything I know about podcasting with you today. And it's a great way to share information. And it's very easy to consume podcast information. I mean, it's easy just to listen to a 5, 10, 20, 30 minute podcast episode while you're doing something else or while you're driving or whatever that looks like. And so the benefits to podcasting is that the content is easily digestible, and everybody has some sort of device that can play audio, right? And it's easy to plug in some AirPods or some headphones and for someone to listen to your podcast episode. So what we're going to dive into today, though, we're going to dive into the process of how do you get started and where do you go to get your podcast set up. Okay, those are kind of the two major topics. I'm going to break those down into about 7 different topics here today. So let's dive into the actual presentation. And a lot of this today is going to be, a lot of this information we're going to be covering today is going to really talk about, let me actually stop share here a sec and do a reshare. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Okay, so what we're gonna cover today are the 7 main topics for creating your first podcast episode. And in diving in, everybody knows who I am, Marketing Technology Director with West, help agents level up their business through marketing technology. A lot of this stuff that I teach came from a conversation I had with Gary Vaynerchuk, where he talked about executing versus just knowing how to do certain things. And to set the stage for you, I really want to set the stage with the right mindset, because it's not easy creating and putting yourself out there in any way, shape, or form, right? Much less in a podcast format, right? Which might be a foreign way of sharing information for you. So mindset, make sure we're coming from an abundance mindset and not a scarcity mindset, you guys. Again, that's going to allow you to move past any blockage, any sort of resistance you have to this. Make sure we are understanding what the resistance is. If it's just education, you don't know how to execute, then you can get with someone like me and I can show you how to execute. If there's some other resistance to starting an effort like this, and you've identified that this is something that's really valuable for you and that could take your business to the next level, and you're not doing it, and maybe you're not sure what the reason is, then let's chat and let's figure out what that reason is, and let's remove that obstacle. Because oftentimes maybe it's something fear-driven. Let's identify what the fear is. If it's logistically driven, where you just don't know what to talk about, how to say it, what to use, I'm going to cover a lot of that here today. So at the end of today's session, you should know the proper way to set it all up. And now it's just up to you to get it done. Okay, but coming from a place of abundance is going to lead to those positive outcomes for you. So we've talked about this in the past, that we live in a time where visibility trumps ability. And frankly, creating content is increasing your visibility online through different mediums. And I'm telling you, audio content in the form of podcasts are very, very, very valuable. And the reason it's called podcast is basically it's taking a little pod of sound and it's casting it out, almost like the original cast was like a broadcast, and then there was a webcast. So now podcast is just taking a little audio clip, whether it's a minute or 30 minutes. There's some podcasts out there where some of the episodes are 2-3 hours. If you're familiar with who Joe Rogan is, he'll do a 3 or 4 hour long podcast, right? And that's, again, just recording a conversation. That's all his podcast consists of, recording a conversation and sharing just the audio. Now, he also records. He has a camera set up in his studio, and he'll record the video for the podcast as well and share that on YouTube. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to combine video and audio. You just do the sound, just do audio. So it's really up to you. So diving in, step number 1, we have to choose a topic and a name for our podcast. Okay. And so I want to share a few different things with you. But specifically in starting this podcast, guys, we want to make sure that number one, we have identified something, some sort of topic that we're going to get excited about. Okay, that we're going to be passionate about, something that we feel like we can do at least 10 times or create 10 different episodes from. Okay, so whatever that looks like. So it could be real estate related. It might not be real estate related. Okay, it could be something completely outside of the box. We've got an agent that's starting a baking podcast, right? So her podcast is going to be all about baking, but specifically baking for like millennials who maybe don't know how to bake. You'd be surprised how many people are attracted and interested in this type of content that she's about to put out, because she's already put out some test content out there, and it's been really well received. And then her next step, after she's consistently delivering that on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, she has to figure out how to convert. And to convert those people, basically, once they're following you, they start to get to know you on a personal level, and then you almost become an influencer for them. So you start to create a lot of influence with the information you're sharing, just who you are, your personality, your perspective and opinion. And you can sprinkle in real estate related stuff. So we're going to have her kind of sprinkle in some real estate related content knowledge, but she'll also say that, by the way, this episode is sponsored by my real estate business, right? And so people see that, oh, wow, she is in real estate. I trust her with baking. I'm sure I will trust her with real estate, right? That's how the conversion happens. And then she can invite people to real estate related events or to chat with her about real estate. So picking a topic, again, that you can get excited about. And then what you want to do is you want to choose a name for it. So we want to name that topic something that has a little buzz, has some excitement behind it. So what I'm going to do now is I want to show you an example of some of the top podcasts actually in the entire country. And I want to show you what those look like. Okay, so here's the top 100 podcasts in the United States right now. Okay, so this was just recently updated. So the very top podcast, it's put out by Dateline NBC, and it's called Motive for Murder. That is the number one podcast in the United States. It's all about these murder shows, these murder mysteries, right? I'll tell you what, I just for fun started listening to this podcast just to go, what is this all about? Why is it the most popular podcast? And it is narrated by some dude, has the most interesting voice in the world. And it is the most captivating stuff you could ever imagine, where you're caught up in like this murder mystery investigation. It's all real life stuff. Really interesting. It's called Motive for Murder. So the topic is kind of murder mystery. The title, Motive for Murder. Okay. Let's look at the second most popular podcast in the United States. Okay. Topic is whatever Joe Rogan wants to talk about. The title or the name is The Joe Rogan Experience, right? With this creepy looking logo here, right? So you guys, here's the deal. It's the most popular podcast, second most popular in the United States. And when I talk about popularity, I'm talking, this is popular, right? This is insanely popular. If I go and just if I click on this and I go right to this from Apple Podcasts, from iTunes, he's ranked a 4.7 with 152,000 ratings. Okay, he's got millions of people that consume each of his podcast episodes, in upwards of 10 million people that watch every single one of his podcasts. If you go to YouTube, you'll see that just the video of him filming the podcast, his videos sometimes get 10 million views, just the video alone. Right? So imagine how many people are subscribed to this podcast. My guess would probably be in the neighborhood of 20 plus million people. And he's done about 300 episodes. You'll see right here. Here's the description of his podcast: the podcast of comedian Joe Rogan, ... That's it. Right? He started this about 7 years ago with an audience of 1-2 people. Right? And now he's built it up to this. Let's go back. Let's look at some of these other podcasts. Podcast number 3. The Daily from the New York Times. This is just daily news that's put out every day, okay, by New York Times. Podcast number 4, Crime Junkie. Okay, that's probably very similar to podcast number 1. Podcast number 5, Wind of Change. This looks like it might have to do with music. the story of people with music. Podcast number 6, Living with Landon Hutchinson. Living with Landon. No idea what that's about, you guys, but it's the 6th most popular podcast in the United States, right? What I would do if I were you is I would take a look and just listen to some of these podcasts. And again, I just wanted to show you the top 10, but just take a look at them. Like, so if I click on here, I click on this one. I don't even know who Landon is, by the way. No idea. But it looks like she has a very popular podcast. Guess what? Guess when she started her podcast, guys? She literally started it a week ago. Not even a week ago, May 8th. She's got one of the top podcasts in the United States right now. And she just started it. She's only 4 episodes deep. And look at her episodes. Episode 1, 18 minutes, 40 minutes, 53 minutes, 1 minute, her last episode. Okay. And it looks like this is what it's all about. All things Landon. Again, no idea who that is. But she must be bringing something interesting to the table. My guess is she may have already had a following before she started the podcast. But I'll tell you what, the name of this podcast is probably a pretty good one. That might be something that somebody could adopt easily. Because if you think about real estate is lifestyle, right? Real estate is life. So real estate is life. That could be the name of your podcast. Real estate is life. You know what I mean? Could be pretty interesting where you talk about real estate, you talk about the community, you talk about what's happening with your family, you just share what's going on. Marco, Vanessa, you guys probably have a pretty interesting life going on. That might be some fun stuff where it's not just you, Marco, carrying the podcast. Maybe Vanessa jumps in or the kids even dive in and share a little bit about, hey, what are their perspectives on this whole pandemic going on? So let me just kind of finish running through these episodes. And by the way, you guys notice how not everything has to be about real estate, right? It really doesn't, right? We can easily convert people by not talking all about real estate. But when you think about starting a podcast, we always think about, well, let's start a podcast about real estate. But guess what? Real estate is just one small thing that people pay attention to. Think about all the other things that they might even be more passionate about that we could then connect with them on a deeper level about, and they know we're in real estate. We can cross promote. Unlocking with Brene Brown, Unlocking Us. No idea what that's about. The Trey Gowdy podcast, Fox News. My Favorite Murder. Okay. Another murder one. So 3 of the top 10 are about murder. And number 10 is Up First by NPR. Ben Shapiro Show, This American Life. Guys, so anyway, that's a little sampling of the top 10 podcasts right now in the United States. What I want to show you here is I want to show you the top 10 real estate podcasts. Top 10 real estate podcasts. So number 1 is Kevin and Fred's Next Level Agents podcast. Those are actually 2 agents in a market that I actually live in. And they're real estate agents. Actually, I think they're real estate broker owners. And they have a team together. And they just talk about what's happening in real estate. And they interview other agents and they interview other entrepreneurs. And they have the number 1 podcast right now for real estate. Number 2, Harvard Business Review IdeaCast. That's more business related. Number 3, Hack the Entrepreneur. So that comes from a guy named John Naster, who's a best-selling author and business person, just talking about, it's not real estate specific, but it's talking about creating systems for your business. Number 4, Gary Vee's podcast. Number 5, Tom Ferry's podcast. Number 6, Brad Inman's podcast. Number 7, Bigger Pockets podcast. 8 is Caravan Confessions. This actually is from the guy that created The Broke Agent, Eric Simon. Number 9, Kelly Mitchell started a podcast called Agent Caffeine. And then number 10, Real Estate Coaching Radio with Julie and Tim Harris, who are kind of real estate coaches. Those are specific real estate or real estate business related podcasts. Okay. The thing about this though, most of these real estate related podcasts, they're really geared towards other real estate agents. They're not necessarily geared towards consumers. And if you think about, Joe and Sally homeowner or Chris, the home buyer, they're not necessarily wanting to listen to a bunch of real estate related stuff. They really don't care about that, right? It's not really, they may have a real estate need in which in that time of need, they're going to dive into real estate related education. But overall, they're not going to listen to just a basic real estate related podcast for months on end. Okay. So that's one other reason why you may not want to do just a real estate related podcast, right? But you do want to come up with that centralized theme though, you guys, and that's really important. Let me show my first season of my podcast. It was called This Just Got Real Estate with me and Ashley Miller. And so I had a co-host. So these are our podcast episodes here. So again, we did 60 episodes in about, we did them out actually in a pretty short amount of time. We actually ended up kind of spreading them out over like a year, but we recorded all of them within probably 3 months. So we did like basically 2 a week for 3 months. So we knocked out like 60. But here's what I want to do. I actually want to just show you kind of the format of the podcast. And again, you don't have to use this format, but I want to just show you how it kind of starts off with with some music, an intro, goes right into us, and then it finishes with what's called an outro. So let me just go ahead and let's click on like this one, for example.
Now broadcasting on Star Worldwide Networks, This Just Got Real Estate. Join your hosts Ashley Miller and Aaron Lacey as they inspire, educate, and empower real estate professionals by uncovering the journeys of entrepreneurs, influencers, and innovators. Now, here's Ashley Miller and Aaron Lacey.
What is up, Ashley Miller?
What's happening, Aaron Lacey?
We've got some incredible guests, and I don't even want to say another word without jumping right in.
Do it.
Okay, anyways, I'll spare you guys the whole episode, right? This is actually a really good one. Actually, I thought all of them worked out pretty well. But this one is roughly 31 minutes long, and it was where we brought in a guest. He's a mental coach, and he just talked about how the mind works and the body's relationship with the mind and mindset. Talked about that for 30 minutes, and then that's that. But you'll notice how we kind of it's kind of a produced episode. It's got that kind of that sound intro leads into us. And so, it sounds great, but guess what? You don't need to do that. And I'm going to show you how to set up your first podcast without even having to do that, right? That's something that we can easily set up for you later once you're probably 10 episodes deep. Okay. Because you can just start off each episode with actually, let me just show you. I just created a podcast just for this training today. And I'm going to just play the first episode. Hi, friends, and welcome to the Aaron Lacey Real Estate Podcast. In this podcast, I'm going to share information about the local real estate community, as well as spotlighting local businesses and other community organizations. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn more about your community than you ever thought you would know. Let's go. Okay, so that even could be your intro for your podcast, right? And maybe you're just going to do a podcast about the community, but I want to show you guys how I set this up. Okay, so after you figure out what your topic and the name of your podcast is, okay, we're starting to make some progress. Okay, so we're starting to make some decent progress, because typically that's the hardest thing to figure out is the name and the topic. Because you want to have a theme to your content. We don't want to just start throwing random subjects and topics out there for each episode, because there's not going to be any continuity. There's not going to be any consistency. And so therefore, people are going to have a hard time kind of getting behind each episode. If that makes sense? They're not really going to find a reason to subscribe to it, because each episode doesn't kind of lead from one to the next. So that's what you want, is you want the topic, the name, and then show an episode format. How are you going to break down the actual show format and the episode format? So in other words, how frequently are you going to create these episodes? Is it weekly? Is it every day? Is it every other week? And then how long are they going to be? So initially my thought was, well, let's make them about 25, 30 minutes long, because that is the average commute for somebody. That's typically, most people are within 30 minutes from their work. So by the time they get in the car, they start driving, they play the podcast, they get into their parking garage or whatever, they've been able to listen to one of my episodes. Or when they sit down at work, or maybe they're working out, or whatever the case is, maybe they're traveling somewhere, they can throw that on, and within 30 minutes, they've consumed an episode. Now, your podcast, you could do 5 minute, you could do 10-minute episodes. Again, it's up to you. You can play around with the length. right? Go 5 minutes one week, go 25 and next, go 10. Figure out which ones people are consuming. And there's a great platform I'm going to show you here in a second called Buzzsprout, which will basically be the home base for all of our podcasting activities. So show an episode format. And then the format, is it going to be just you talking? Are you going to interview other people? Will you have co-hosts with you? How are you going to kind of set up that, right? Logistically, what does all that look like? Okay. Because that's something that's important. I went with a co-host. I like having co-hosts. The reason for that is because you have something to bounce off of somebody else. I don't call it what you want. I like having a partner when I do things. It just makes it easier. There's more accountability. When maybe I didn't feel like totally up for the podcast, but my partner, my co-host was like, Aaron, we got to do it. Then it was a motivator for me. And that's why we were able to knock out 60 episodes in 3 months. Now, here's the thing. If I didn't have a co-host, that wouldn't have happened. That definitely wouldn't happen, because there were mornings where I woke up and I was like, I do not feel like recording an episode right now, and I still did it. So plus you can split the work. You can split the tasks, having a co-host. So we've come up with our name. We've come up with our concept, show an episode format. So next is, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but cover art creation is basically where we just create kind of like a visual for our podcast. The nice thing about this, you guys, is you can do this in Canva. Okay, you can easily do this in Canva. So I'm going to actually pop open Canva here for a second, and I want to show you how easy it is. How easy it is to create some cover art in Canva. So let me just go right back to my browser, and if I type in here, let's just say we want to do. Let's say we want to do, just a square cover art, right? Just a square that's going to be a design that represents our podcast. All we need to do is click on create a design, custom dimensions, and then I do 1,000 by 1,000. Okay. Create design. That's going to create a perfect square for you to then use for your podcast. Okay. So then you can search templates if you want, see if there's any podcast related templates. You can even go to photos. You can type in podcast, or you can type in like radio if you want, right? So you could even grab one of these. I can pull this in. There's the background, right? And then I can go up to templates, and let's just see. Let's type in show. So I could even just pull in some text right now and go, Aaron Lacey's podcast. Right. And then I could pull in my photo, and I could pull in maybe like, I cover all things real estate. Right. So you just knock that out, you guys. So the cover art's important because that's what gets displayed along with your podcast when we syndicate it out. Okay. So if I jump back over here to Buzzsprout, you'll see that this is where I would upload my artwork. Okay, so I would just go here. If I downloaded this right to my desktop, then I can just upload it right in, and it's going to be used to represent my podcast everywhere online. So let's dive into that. Let's dive into that for a second. So let's kind of introduce Buzzsprout now. I think now's a good time. So what I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and log out. But I want to show you what Buzzsprout is. Buzzsprout is basically going to make your life really, really easy. So those podcast episodes that I created, they were costing right around $150 per episode. So up to $200 an episode. So it cost me for that to have a producer in-house in a studio. It was costing me $2,000 a month. So it cost $6,000 to put out those 60 episodes. Really, really expensive. And basically, if I knew then what I know now, I definitely wouldn't have gone that route. I would just do all of this at my house. I would sign up for a service like Buzzsprout, where it basically walks you through the entire podcasting experience. Look at the pricing, you guys. Free for up to 2 hours worth of podcast episodes a month. And if you want indefinite hosting and up to 3 hours each month, it's only $12, right? To for your own podcast. So what you'll do is just click Get Started Free, and it's going to walk you right through the process of getting started with your first podcast. Okay, so I'll click Get Started Free. I just want to show you what this looks like. Plug our name, plug our email in there. I'm not a robot, create my podcast. You're going to see, once you do that, let me get logged in here. You are going to see this. Hopefully this password logs in here. So you're going to see a screen that looks just like this. And it's going to say, upload your first episode. Okay. So you're not going to have your first episode yet, which is totally fine. Right. But you'll see some other options here. So it's going to say Aaron's podcast. You can upload artwork to represent the podcast. So I'm going to click on update artwork. And because I actually remember, I just created that little podcast artwork in Canva. So there we go. Save podcast info. So check this out. Once we're done, you can hit refresh, and boom, Aaron Lacey's podcast. Okay, that's simple. Okay, so we've got episodes. No episodes yet. Players. We don't need to worry about that right now. Website. We can customize our own URL so that when someone goes to aaron.buzzsprout.com, that's where our podcast is going to live. Okay, so if we click on preview website, check this out. This is what the page actually looks like. And remember, I recorded that first podcast episode. You guys, is this easier than you thought it was going to be? Okay, just wait. I'm going to show you how much easier it is to even record your first episode. Directories. Let me show you something. Once we start adding episodes, click on directories, get listed in Apple, iTunes, get listed on Spotify, Google, right? You can get listed for free in all of these locations. Talk about the distribution for your podcast, right? So really, really easy to do. What are the major ones? Major ones are these three right here, specifically Apple and Google. Okay, those will integrate right with people's phones. So all they have to do is just go right to their, right to their audio app or podcast app, and boom, there's your podcast there. Resources, some great resources for getting things set up, how to create artwork, all that kind of stuff. Your podcast settings, the title and the description of your podcast, your artwork. Okay, select a category, time zone, click save, and then stats. It'll show you how many people over the last 7 days, 30 days are looking at your podcast, how long they're listening to each podcast episode. And you guys, this is where you're going to go in and find out if your 5-minute or your 25-minute are being more well received. Okay. So you're probably wondering, Aaron, what's next? Okay. So what's next is, let me jump back into the slides here. So what's next, step 4, is intro and outro music. What you want to do is you really want to add a nice little element to your podcast, and that's going to be some music to kind of start the podcast off. So it's music plays and then you start speaking. Okay. So find some music. There's some great music options. What you can look for would be open source music. So if you go to Google and you search for open source music, let me actually share with you what's available there, because there's a lot of great resources that most people aren't even aware of. And so open source music would be royalty-free music that you can use. And here's my favorite website, bensound.com. bensound.com. Basically free music that you can use, and it's broken up into a lot of different topics. So let's say you have a little more of an upbeat theme to your podcast, jump into electronica, and you can even listen. That's actually a great little audio clip right there. Imagine that's how your podcast opens, with that nice little beat. And then all of a sudden it's like, what's up, you guys? Hey, Marco here, back with another episode. Today we're talking with, right? And then that's a 10-minute, 15-minute long segment. Boom. And then, all right, you guys, till next time. And that music starts back up for the last 5-7 seconds, right? How awesome would that episode be? Especially if there's great content right in the middle. So again, royalty-free music, bensound.com, really, really good stuff. It's where I get all my stuff. Okay. So that's intro and outro music. Let's talk about your equipment selection. Everyone has a podcast studio and they don't even realize it. And that's this right here, right? This is a podcast studio. Let's talk about some of the software you probably already have that you can use quite easily. Does anyone have Evernote? Are you familiar with Evernote? If you have Evernote, it has audio recording built in. What about Quick Voice Pro? Quick Voice Pro. Let me just show you Quick Voice Pro. The thing I really like about this app, and it's a free app, you guys, so it's totally free. The thing I like about that is it creates an audio file. So I'm going to actually just jump on right from my phone here, and I'm going to do a screen share, and I want to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to stop video, and I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and so let me just show you quickly what this looks like. Okay, so if I jump out of this, so I'm going to go right to my home screen, and I've got this audio app over here, and it's called Quick Voice Pro. So it's right in the middle. It's that red one with the microphone, Quick Voice Pro. And that is so Quick Voice is free in the App Store. The Pro version, I believe, is like $3. So if I click on that, what that does is just loads the app, and it allows me to just record. So I can just click record at the bottom. Hey guys, and welcome to my second episode of Real Estate Done Easy with Aaron Lacey. And today we have a guest host, or today we're interviewing a city council member who's talking about some of the different growth projects she's seeing that's happening around the Richmond area. Shelly, welcome to the show. And okay, so you guys, that's it, right? So check this out. If I click on play. Hey guys, and welcome to my second episode of Real Estate. Okay, so I'm going to spare you that, but didn't that come across really clear, really easy to hear, to listen to? So that's really the goal there is to create this. Your audio should be crisp, right? It should be, you don't need, by the way, this setup, $150. Right? So it's not super expensive. This would be totally fine. This just plugs right in my computer via USB. But frankly, simply using your phone and one of those apps, whether it's Quick Voice or whether it's Evernote or any audio recording app on your phone will work. Now, it gets a little more complicated when maybe you have somebody that's here with you. You guys may have to, there's little mic attachments. There's little, I've got, a bunch of different little pieces of equipment, but you can get fun little, little mic splitters. So you can have the little corded lapel mics, which kind of like this, that connect to someone's lapel. You've got two of those that go into a little splitter that go right into your phone or right into your computer. You guys, it's easy to capture the audio, or both people one person could have their phone and the other has their own phone and they're recording to those, or you could do it over Zoom. Here's what I love about Zoom. Okay. And I'm going to share actually what I typically do with Zoom. I love using Zoom. And the reason I love using Zoom is because Zoom will actually separate the audio from the video. So if I dive in and I click on one of these Zoom episodes that I have, so I'm going to share, let me just kind of share what I've got going on with Zoom, and to give you guys a good feel for how this works. So if I share my Finder, okay, so here's a bunch of my recorded Zoom episodes. And if I click on, let's say this one, for example, you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's one folder and 3 files. And the first one is the audio from the conversation I had on Zoom. And this one is the video. So it separates the two. So so there's audio built into this video. So this is kind of an all-in-one right here. But here's the audio, here's the audio only file. Guess what I could do with that? I could basically upload that right to Buzzsprout. Okay. And then I'm done, right? If I wanted to, or I could add that audio to the front end and that music to the back end for the intro and the outro. Okay. So that's a little more of an advanced thing that I'm not going to really touch too much on that today. But if you're interested in knowing how to do that, let me just share a quick little tool with you. If you want to be able to edit the audio or add the music on the front end and the back end, you can use this program. And this program right here is called Audacity. Audacity. So Audacity is a free download, and it's basically just a little sound editor. So what I did was I pulled in some music, which is the bottom, and then an audio clip, which is this top piece, and I can just put them together, right? So I slide the audio over, I put the music in to start, and then I can add more music in this back piece as the outro, and then I can basically go up and I can save this as an audio file, and I'm good to go. Okay, so that's a little more of an advanced thing. You guys, you don't need to do that, but you can if you want. Again, if you want to dive into some of this stuff a little deeper, just let me know. Okay, so from an equipment selection standpoint, you can just use your phone and just an audio recording app on your phone. If you want to take it to the next level, get a nice mic, get some nice headphones, and get that connected to your computer. If you feel like you're going to be doing a lot of interview type stuff, that's going to happen over Zoom. Okay. So I would just use Zoom. Make sure that in the Zoom settings, though, when you go into your Zoom settings, that as a recording setting, it's recording the audio separate from video, because that's going to make it really easy to go in and just update and upload that audio. Okay. Let's dive into step number 6, audio recording and editing. So we talked about that already. You don't have to get into the editing side. Editing usually is an additional, more complicated layer. You can stay away from that for now. The thing is, maybe something was said in the session or the episode, or maybe somebody like started cussing and you don't want to use, you want to edit that out, or they said something that maybe was a mistake or an accident, or they burped or somebody did something. I mean, you guys, I've heard and seen it all. But we can edit some of that stuff out. Okay. So that's pretty easy to do. By the way, you can do, for those that have a Mac, iMovie, you can pull that audio file into iMovie and edit it there. You can pull an audio file into a lot of these different audio editing apps on your phone and just cut out little pieces as well. So again, there's a lot of great technology and tools out there that didn't even exist a year and a half ago when I recorded my 60 episodes. Step 7, submission. So the last step, you guys, is just to get your podcast submitted to Apple and to Google. Okay, so that's going to be that's going to create the distribution for you. That's going to get your audience built. So what I really like, again, about Buzzsprout is the fact that we can take our episode, we can click on upload a new episode, and it's going to pull that episode in. Okay, and here's my first episode right here that I already uploaded, podcast welcome, right? And if I click on that, here's that podcast, here's that image that I uploaded, here's my first one, you guys, and I can easily record a second one. I mean, let me just show you right now how we can easily just record a second one. So I'm actually just going to share this small window. This is Evernote. This is another free tool. You can record audio really easily and simply here by just clicking on, there's a little microphone icon. Hi, guys. Welcome to the second episode of Aaron Lacey's podcast, where I'm covering all things real estate and community related. I've got Marco Rodriguez, the broker owner of Genesis Real Estate, in the house. Welcome, Marco. And we can't wait to get started and get launched into what's happening in his local market. All right, you guys. Go ahead and click on stop and click on play. Hi, guys. Welcome to the second episode. Can you guys hear that? Hi, guys. Welcome to the second episode of Aaron. What I can then do is just click on download. Okay, that's going to ask me to save that to my desktop. And then I'm going to click on episodes, upload a new episode, choose a file. I'm going to pull that one right from my desktop. So that was, let's see. So you probably can't see that, but that was, which one was that? That was .23. I'm going to click on open. Let me actually share this screen with you guys. Okay, so I went ahead and just uploaded that episode. Success, your audio file has been uploaded. I'm going to say episode. So this one is interview with, Marco. Are you guys Genesis Real Estate? Okay, and then I can add the description. Marco talks about et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Save episode details. By the way, if I wanted to, I could actually create and add a photo just for that episode. Maybe I go back into Canva and I have kind of a nice little template going where I have like my guests. I have like their headshot, maybe even the topic underneath, and I add that as the artwork. And I will say this is season 1, episode 2, and click save episode details. Now check this out. Let me actually just get rid of this one. See if I can delete this one here. Delete this episode. Okay. So now we've got our 2 episodes, right? So we have the welcome, and now we have our first interview. Notice how it says this episode is not live. What I want to do is click on that and just click on publish if everything sounds good. And now that episode is published. Now it's available. Okay. So now I have 2 episodes on my podcast. And if I click on that and I click on play. Hi guys, welcome to the 2nd episode of Aaron Lacey's podcast. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now if I click on website, and this is what I want people to see, check this out. So now here's my website. And by the way, since I'm a free member of Buzzsprout, they will show ads at the bottom of your Buzzsprout website. But look at my podcast. Again, you guys, in 30 minutes, we created this graphic. We created our entire Buzzsprout account, and we knocked out 2 episodes. Okay. Now, mind you, these episodes are 20 seconds in length. They could easily be 20 minutes. I mean, shoot, I've been talking for 43 minutes, you guys. It's really easy. You'd be surprised how easy it is to talk for 10, 15 minutes. And again, interview someone, share some relevant information, whatever that looks like. Here's what's cool. You just share this link. Hey guys, I just posted, I just recorded another session on, Aaron's What's Happening in Real Estate podcast. You guys definitely check it out. Check the link in my bio. What I would do is I would promote it. And that's really the last step I want to share with you guys is promotion. How do we promote our podcast? Well, we want to promote it using social media, right? We're going to use Instagram. We're going to use Facebook. We're going to use Instagram stories, right? We're going to share. We're going to go, hey, you guys, I just released another episode. You guys check it out. Link in my bio. Link in my bio. Where are you going to link people? Right to your Buzzsprout site. Okay. Okay. So promotion tips. Promotion's fun. I mean, you guys, promotion's really fun. Let me show you an example of some podcast marketing, just some notes that I wrote for mine. I look back at some of my old notes and you guys, so you should be able to see this screen. So here's what I wrote. This was back in 2018, May 22nd, 2018. I said, each episode, go live on personal Facebook pages until start of the show. So the strategy was, let's go live and kind of promote each show that's getting ready to come up. And then we could even go live while we're filming. So we were actually going live while we were filming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You don't have to do that, but sometimes it's fun to show kind of the behind the scenes, the live version. And then as people are booked, we add them to a calendar invite, and we would post. We'd basically email upcoming guests requesting their headshot, their title, their bio. Then we had an assistant that was making sure that we were collecting their information, then going into Canva and adding their headshot and bio to the graphic template. And then that would get posted on social media before the episode, basically saying, hey, we've got an upcoming episode. So you could do something like that, or you could just say, hey, we dropped a new episode, released a new one. Here's the graphic for it. Check the link in the bio. Okay. So that was on Monday. And then we would schedule a call with them just to make sure they're dialed in, because then we would go, and the show was actually on Tuesday. Okay. And then nothing on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, we would basically promote upcoming shows. And that was the marketing, you guys. So pretty simple, pretty basic. The goal really is just to make sure you get each episode shared out ahead of time or as it's released on your social media channels, you guys. It's pretty straightforward there. So that's the promotion tip. And then you guys, I'm going to, again, just finishing it up. I think we've really covered a lot of ground, a lot of bases here. Are there any questions before we kind of finish up? If anyone has any questions, by all means, you guys just yell them out. And then feel free to reach out to Kelly or myself. And you guys, we can help you with your individual podcast. If you guys are excited about this and it's something you really want to dive into and work on and create, like I'm 110% behind you. I'll do everything I can to make it successful with you. I know that it's not easy, but doing something that's valuable is never easy.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind, you guys. And you can do it. I mean, you guys got this. So if it's something you're interested in, you guys, by all means, dive into it, make it happen. And I will say, again, make sure your mindset's in the right place, because you know what I mean? Like you want to just go ignore the noise, ignore what everyone else is doing, and do you. You know what I mean? And just focus on you. Focus on doing what you can do, what you feel strongly about, and just do it to the best of your ability, you guys. That's the name of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Easy to get distracted with what other people are doing. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Marco, Monica, you guys get an award. You've been to every class. You get a special badge. Like when we're little kids and we go to the dentist, we get a sticker and a sucker. I just want to thank you guys. I sent Marco, Aaron gave me all the videos that have been that you've done on your classes. This is our 5th class. So I sent those to you in an email so that you could forward to the team. I'm going to be following up with each and every single one of you. And I know, Monica, you and I need to talk about a few things. And I apologize because I've been out a little bit with a kidney stone. I'm trying really hard to be back at it, but I'm struggling a little. And I was laughing because I was like, do I go to the hospital and get medicine, or do I go to the store and get whiskey? I'm in pain. So we were laughing because I'm not a whiskey drinker, but we appreciate you. We appreciate the opportunity. I know we're going to do business together. I know we just closed one with you, Marco. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Aaron, you're the guru. I never knew that even I could create a podcast. So I have learned every single week. I've learned Canva. I've learned podcasting. I'm like, all right, now I just got to be confident and go for it. We'll just go for it. Nobody knows if we're making a mistake, but Aaron, you make everything look so easy.
Yeah.
Hey guys, that's because it is. The only thing that prevents us from performing is ourselves, you guys, because most of the stuff's easy. There's resources everywhere. It's just how much focus do we want to put on this, and how much value do we see this resulting in? And you guys, this is going to, if this is something you guys dive into, this is going to return massive rewards for your time and effort. Guarantee it. Yes, so
definitely. Just a really quick, just to close out, I know that we're going to be hitting 11 o'clock again. First off, thank you so much, Kelly, for putting this together, because I know that we've been talking about this. You said you guys need to really listen to Aaron. Aaron, you've been amazing. So I appreciate both of you taking the time to really train our group. And there's a lot of value here. I'm glad for those recorded trainings, because we're going to actually go in there and listen to it again, because I want to do another training and then dive deep what we have done, what we need to work on. And then I think this podcast, I think it's going to be really, really cool. I already got a lot of ideas for us all. So thank you so much, Kelly, Aaron. Man, you guys have been a huge blessing for our team. Next Escrow's got to go to Kelly and her team with Maria Brambilla. So
thank you.
Everybody, make sure to send your Escrows over there. Send them over there.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
And Marco, thank you for the amazing review on Facebook. Our whole management team was so excited for giving Maria 5 stars and all of that. That really helps us, and we appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Anything we can do to support your business, for sure. Thank you so much for supporting.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to more trainings in the future. I'm sure there'll be many, many more to come. And definitely reach out to Kelly. Get some time scheduled with Kelly and I. You guys, let's help you take some of the stuff you've learned and implement and execute it right into your business and take it to the next level, you guys. So thanks so much. Congratulations on working on your business.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you guys soon.
God bless.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay. You got it. Bye-bye.